The US just bombed Iran. Again. But this time, Bitcoin is below $60,000, oil is spiking, and the Strait of Hormuz, the most important waterway you've never thought about, is on fire. Here's what just happened, why your portfolio is bleeding, and what comes next. On June 25, an Iranian drone struck the M/V Ever Lovely, a Singapore-flagged cargo ship leaving the Strait of Hormuz. This wasn't random, it was a deliberate escalation. Iran's Revolutionary Guard had threatened to close the strait weeks earlier, and now they were making good on that threat. The UN evacuation plan was halted. Oil prices spiked. And markets were terrified. 24 hours later, the US military responded. On June 26, CENTCOM announced strikes on Iranian missile storage facilities, drone launch sites, and radar installations. President Trump accused Iran of violating the fragile 60-day ceasefire. The message was clear: the United States will not tolerate attacks on commercial shipping in international waters. So what happened to crypto? Bitcoin, already reeling from a brutal sell-off that wiped $250 billion from the market, broke below $60,000 for the first time in months. The RSI hit 31.5, deep in oversold territory. The Fear and Greed Index hit 17, extreme fear. Nearly $2 billion in leveraged positions were liquidated across the June sell-off. And during the earlier May strikes, Bitcoin briefly dipped below 63,000 after dropping from 80,000 plus. We're now below even those levels. Here's the part most analysts are missing. The Strait of Hormuz handles about 20% of the world's oil supply. Iran's blockade, and the US response, threatens to push oil past $150 a barrel. That's inflationary. That means the Fed can't cut rates. And higher for longer rates are the single worst macro environment for risk assets like crypto. This isn't just a geopolitical flashpoint, it's a structural shift in the macro landscape. We're seeing three converging crises. First, geopolitical, the US-Iran conflict is escalating, not de-escalating. Second, macro, inflation fears are reigniting as oil spikes. Third, crypto-specific, strategy, formerly MicroStrategy, is facing pressure. ETF outflows are at record levels. Retail sentiment has completely collapsed. Samson Moe says the bottom is in, but analysts remain divided. Meanwhile, 50,000 Bitcoin just moved at a loss, a classic capitulation signal. Here's the bottom line. This is the most macro-sensitive moment for crypto since the COVID crash of 2020. The Iran situation isn't going away, if anything, it's about to get worse before it gets better. But here's what I want you to watch for. The moment the Fed signals a pivot, or when a ceasefire actually holds, that's when risk assets will rip. Stay patient. Stay informed. And don't panic sell at extreme fear. If you found this breakdown useful, subscribe. I cover these macro moves every week.